It was our first year at university, and my two roommates, Mary, Susan, and I, had found what we thought was the perfect apartment. It was nestled in the cozy surroundings of the campus, complete with vintage furniture that gave it a unique charm. Our favorite feature was an old, ornate, gold-framed mirror that adorned the living room. The strange occurrences began about a week after we moved in. At first, it was subtle, like faint footsteps echoing in the empty corridors, and the occasional sound of things being moved around. We dismissed it as the creaks and groans of an old building, or perhaps a neighbor's late-night escapades. We even joked about the possibility of a lost ghost wandering around our apartment, a whimsical notion we shared over cups of tea. As the weeks passed, the noises grew louder and more frequent. The footsteps became more pronounced, and the sounds of objects being shuffled and moved took on an eerie quality. We couldn't ignore it any longer, and the three of us were unsettled by the strange occurrences. One sunny afternoon, I decided to tackle the living room's spring cleaning. Armed with a mop and a feather duster, I diligently worked my way around the room. As I knelt down to clean beneath the old furniture, I glanced at the mirror and noticed something peculiar. It appeared to be several centimeters away from the wall, as if it wasn't flush with the surface. Curiosity got the better of me, and I reached out to give it a gentle push. To my amazement, the mirror moved effortlessly, as if it were meant to be swung open. I called out to Mary and Susan, my voice trembling with excitement and fear. They rushed over, equally intrigued by the bizarre discovery. We shared wide-eyed glances before Susan, always the bold one, grabbed the mirror and pulled it towards her. It swung open, revealing a hidden room behind it. We gasped in astonishment as the secrets concealed for who knows how long lay exposed before us. The secret room was small and dimly lit, with a bench, some trash on the floor, and a message that we could not decipher. It was clear that someone had been living there, hiding in plain sight behind the mirrored facade, watching us day and night. The realization sent shivers down our spines, and we felt an invasion of our privacy that was beyond unsettling. Mary exclaimed, "This is insane! Someone has been spying on us for who knows how long. We need to call the police." I nodded, my heart pounding as I reached for my phone. We didn't waste any time, dialing the emergency number and explaining the bizarre situation to the dispatcher. Within minutes, a pair of police officers arrived at our apartment, their eyes widening as we led them to the hidden room. The officers carefully inspected the room, gathering evidence and taking photographs. They assured us they would conduct a thorough investigation, starting with the landlord of the building. We couldn't help but feel violated and anxious, wondering how long we had been under surveillance and who could have possibly orchestrated such an elaborate scheme. In the days that followed, the police delved into their investigation. Our landlord was questioned extensively, and it wasn't long before shocking revelations came to light. It turned out that he had installed the secret room behind the mirror as part of his voyeuristic obsession. He had been spying on the apartment's tenants for years, capturing their private moments for his twisted pleasure. The truth left us speechless, and the sense of betrayal from someone we had initially trusted was hard to bear. Our landlord was arrested, and we found ourselves embroiled in a court case that would drag on for months. The entire ordeal had left us traumatized, and we decided to leave the apartment as soon as we could. I've always been a firm believer that college is supposed to be the time of your life. New friends, exciting experiences, and the freedom to chart your own course. But for me, my college experience turned into a chilling nightmare that I never saw coming. It all began when I moved into my dorm room with two strangers who would become my roommates. Brad and Sarah seemed perfectly normal at first, and I was excited to share this chapter of my life with them. Little did I know that their normalcy would slowly unravel into a sinister plot against me. The first few weeks went by smoothly as we adjusted to the hectic rhythm of college life. Late-night study sessions, pizza deliveries, and shared laughter were the norm. But as the days turned into weeks, I started to notice something off about Brad and Sarah. They were whispering behind my back, exchanging secretive glances, and sometimes they'd abruptly stop talking when I entered the room. One evening, as I returned to our dorm, I overheard them discussing something in hushed tones. I couldn't quite make out the words, but the atmosphere was tense. It was as if they were plotting something, and my heart began to race. I decided to confront them, my voice quivering with anxiety. "What's going on, guys? You've been acting strange lately. Is something wrong?" I asked, trying to sound as calm as possible. Brad and Sarah exchanged a nervous look before Sarah finally spoke. "We were just talking about a surprise party for you, but it's a secret, so you can't know any more than that." The excuse seemed plausible enough, and I tried to push my concerns to the back of my mind, but my unease lingered. Something didn't sit right, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were hiding something more sinister. As days turned into weeks, their behavior became increasingly erratic. They started coming and going at odd hours, and they would lock themselves in their room, always out of my sight. I grew paranoid, my mind racing with thoughts of what they might be planning. I started researching self-defense techniques and even considered moving out, but I had no concrete evidence to justify my fears. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard them whispering again. This time, I couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion that something terrible was afoot. They talked about getting rid of me and making it look like an accident. Panic surged through me, and I knew I had to act fast. I contacted a friend and confided in them, explaining the unsettling behavior of my roommates. Together, we decided to search their room while they were out. It was a risky move, but I had to know the truth. Inside their room, we discovered a hidden stash of medications and a notebook filled with sinister plans and ideas. The truth was undeniable. They were planning to harm me. It was a chilling revelation that sent shivers down my spine. I contacted campus security and the authorities immediately. Brad and Sarah were arrested, and their sinister plans were thwarted. The nightmare was finally over, but the scars it left on my psyche would take much longer to heal. College, supposed to be a time of joy and self-discovery, had become a living nightmare. Trusting your roommates is supposed to be a given, but in my case, that trust was shattered, and the horrors of a real-life thriller had become an all-too-real part of my college experience. It's a reminder that even in the most mundane of situations, danger can lurk in the shadows, waiting to pounce when you least expect it. The move to Elm Street marked the beginning of a new chapter in my life, a fresh start filled with the promise of adulthood. Sharing an apartment with Jake seemed like a stroke of luck. He was the kind of guy you'd meet at any mundane social gathering, and our initial interactions gave no indication of the horrors that lurked beneath the surface. The first unsettling sign was a subtle odor that crept into the apartment, a scent so faint it danced on the edges of perception. I dismissed it as the quirks of an aging building or remnants of someone's forgotten culinary experiment. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the smell became more pronounced, more disturbing, leaving an unshakable unease in its wake. My discomfort deepened as Jake's behavior took a bizarre turn. He withdrew into himself, avoiding eye contact and muttering in hushed tones. Late at night, peculiar sounds emanated from his room, like muffled thuds and suppressed whispers. When questioned, he waved it off as nothing more than the restlessness that accompanies a sleepless night. The enigma surrounding Jake intensified my curiosity, pushing me to investigate his room while he was away. What I stumbled upon beneath his bed shattered the illusion of normalcy. A hidden compartment housing grisly photographs of crime scenes, each more macabre than the last. I recoiled, realizing that my roommate wasn't just peculiar. He was a serial killer. Fear gripped me like a vice, but a survival instinct kicked in. I needed evidence, proof that would not only save potential victims, but also protect me from the very monster I shared living quarters with. The smell in the apartment became almost unbearable, a constant reminder of the darkness I had uncovered. I couldn't resist delving deeper into Jake's room, and it was during one of those covert excursions that I found a secret compartment in his closet. Plastic sheets stained with blood, a set of meticulously organized tools. The sinister truth unfolded before me. Jake was not only a killer, he was methodical and disturbingly meticulous. The weight of the revelation bore down on me, but I couldn't afford to let fear consume me. Gathering evidence discreetly, I uncovered a pattern in Jake's killings. My only hope was to involve the police, but I had to be cautious, careful not to tip him off. Days turned into agonizing weeks as I lived in constant fear of discovery. The apartment, once a sanctuary, transformed into a pressure cooker of anxiety. Every creak in the floor sent shivers down my spine, and sleep became an elusive commodity as I wrestled with the images from those photographs and the chilling realization that a killer shared my living space. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived when the police apprehended Jake. The relief was overwhelming, but the horror didn't end there. The trial exposed the depths of his depravity, providing chilling insights into his twisted motivations and the audacity with which he hid his crimes under our shared roof. As the apartment became a crime scene, I moved out, unable to escape the memories that clung to the walls. The ordeal left scars that time couldn't erase, a constant reminder that monsters sometimes wear the most ordinary faces. Settling into a new life, the experience lingered like a shadow, forever shaping my perception of trust and the thin line between normalcy and unimaginable darkness.